Hey everyone, what's up? Welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. So if you're anything like me, you probably like to start the new year off with a new book. So I thought that I would share some of my favorite entrepreneurial reads with you. I get asked about this a lot. What are some book recommendations that I have? And I finally decided to do a video about it. First book here is called This is Marketing by Seth Godin. This is kind of like one of those holy grail marketing books. I think he does a really good job of explaining what exactly marketing is. There are a ton of different case studies in this book from big brands kind of showcasing, how they're using marketing. And really the key thing is summarized here on, let's see, early in the book, page 2? Marketing is the generous act of helping someone solve a problem. Their problem. And I think that this is just the ultimate no sleaze view into marketing. And there's a massive reading list at the end of this book. So if you're watching this video, you'd probably be interested in that. I actually haven't read a lot of his recommendations, so you can check that out at the very end. This is called I Am My Brand by Kubi Springer. And she is also a marketing strategist, I think. I think she owned an agency for a while. She's done a lot of advertising work and things like that. And it's sort of a book about personal branding. It's not sort of, it is a book about personal branding. And I had a hard time finding a good book about personal branding because it's not a new concept, but that term is rather new, and definitely personal branding with the internet involved is a newer concept because the internet is only so old. So I thought that she did a really good job of sharing her experience as an entrepreneur and how she was able to use that personal brand to move it forward. I think this is also written in a very accessible way. So she talks about color psychology, font psychology, things like that, and the importance of putting thought into those things, but she does it in a way that is not overwhelming. There are also a ton of case studies in here as well and examples and things like that, but she also has a ton of exercises in here, which is pretty cool. So I found the format in the actual book to be a little cumbersome to write in the book, but what I did is I would just write in my own journal along with some of these exercises and sort of journal pages, and I found it super helpful. The Trusted Advisor. I actually read this when I was very first starting my marketing agency, and I actually just went through it, getting ready for this video, just kind of skimmed through all of these books, and I really reread it with a fresh pair of eyes now that I do a lot more online education and coaching and mentoring. So I'm actually really looking forward to reading it from that perspective, rereading it from that perspective. But basically, this book is a lesson in how to listen. Really and truly, that's what it is. The concept of it is that it's going to help you move from doing these kind of mundane tasks in an organization when you're hired by them to being a trusted advisor, which is really somebody who is instrumental in the organization's growth. It's somebody who the organization trusts. I hear from people all the time, new freelancers, particularly they hired me to do their social media, but they're not giving me the reins. They're always micromanaging. And if that sounds like you have to check out this book. You can see all of my notes in here. There's a ton in here on psychology and mindsets. For example, there are these different mindsets that a trusted advisor should develop. That's the ability to focus on the other person, self-confidence, ego strength, curiosity, and inclusive professionalism. Inclusive professionalism is really about meeting them where they are and being approachable and being able to really talk to them. So I don't know, it's a really good book, especially if you have a hard time listening. Check this one out. I recommend this book to everybody. It's called Built to Sell. And it's really the story of an imaginary business owner getting ready to sell their business. And I do not hear a lot of people talk about this book. And I think the reason I don't hear a lot of people talk about it is because a lot of people don't think that they would be interested in selling their business. And listen, I never did either until 2 years ago. I'm not actively looking to sell it or anything like that, but I definitely, as the business has grown, I've seen that as an opportunity, as a possibility. It starts to become like a baby, growing up, and you're like, oh my gosh, I need this thing out of my house sometimes. It's a lot of work. So anyway, whether you choose to sell your business or not, I think that this is a really fantastic book and gives you a really good framework to build a sustainable business, build a business that can run without you, because whether you want to sell it or not, you probably want your business to be able to run without you so you can, I don't know, take a vacation, raise a child, a family, whatever. So there are a ton of great insights in this book, like don't generate all of your revenue from just one client, for example. Productize your offers. So as opposed to always pitching something as a service and your clients as clients, pitching your services as products and your customers as customers. That was a really interesting insight. Business planning, financial planning, kind of what you're gonna need in those different balance sheets and things like that. It is an Inc. book, which Inc. is like a magazine website, it's a publication, and it kind of reads like an article. Like it's a really easy read too. It's pretty short. It's only 140 pages or so. So it's a really fun read, an easy read. And seriously, if you want to build a business that can run without you, that's gonna live longer than you, that is going to sustain, I cannot recommend this one enough. I think this is a perfect follow-up to it. It's called Essentialism. And Essentialism really helps you make smart business decisions or decisions in general. I think you can apply a lot of the lessons from Essentialism, to different aspects of life. It's absolutely perfect for business, and it's a perfect follow-up, like I said, to Built to Sell, because it really teaches you to act like a CEO. Whether you're thinking about building your business to sell it, or you're just trying to pick the right offers for your business, a CEO, a smart CEO at least, doesn't say yes to every single opportunity. A smart CEO knows how to prioritize their workload and their opportunities and delegate things and, not be all over the place running around saying yes to every single thing. I think my favorite quote in this book is, if it isn't a clear yes, then it's a clear no. And this has really been my driving force. I think it's going to be for 2021 because simplify is my word for 2021. I really want to eliminate a lot of the things that I'm offering, a lot of the noise, and just be very clear about what I really want to do and what I really offer and what I'm really amazing at. And Essentialism is a really good way to help you get there. If you're a busy, overwhelmed, burnt out kind of entrepreneur, check that one out for sure. Okay, I couldn't go without talking about this old classic. This is a classic for me. When was this written? I think it's 2013. Wow, I bought this early. I bought this like when I first started watching Gary Vaynerchuk. So I started watching Gary Vaynerchuk when I was in college. From probably 2012, 2013 to 2015, 16, I was like watching a lot of his stuff, listening to his podcast, really consuming a lot of his content. The man's a genius. He's brilliant. Don't get me wrong, but I haven't really kept up with him much over the years, but I definitely have to admit that he was instrumental to me starting my business. I gotta give him those props. I don't know if I would be here without Gary, to be honest with you. So this was one of my first business books that I bought, and it was written in 2013. So as you can see, there's some social media icons on this book that are probably not super relevant anymore. Google+, Vine, Snapchat, it's kind of on its way out, Tumblr. So keep that in mind with this book. It is not gonna be like a step-by-step thing that you can necessarily follow the same way today. But what I really appreciate about this book is that the concepts remain, and a good marketer understands that. A good marketer doesn't need a blueprint for every single social platform. As long as you understand the art of storytelling and understand, how to use creative and how to do copywriting and, how to understand your target audience, those things can cascade along other social platforms. So pay less attention to the specific social aspects and more to what he says about the art of storytelling and using creative. And basically the main concept in this. So it's jab, 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 right hook. That's, the name of the book. And basically he's saying these jabs are the generous, informative, helpful storytelling kind of content that reels people in, that gets people to trust you, that whole know, like, trust factor thing. And then the right hooks or the hard sells, the invitations to come work with you, the self-promotional content. And basically what he's saying is there needs to be more of the jabs and less of the right hooks. You have to have that balance in your content. And like I said, I mean, I think that this really is a blueprint for how audiences are used to consuming content now. Like YouTube is a bunch of jabs. If you watched me for a while, you know that I do a lot of jabs. I do a lot of informative content, how-to content, helpful content, and I don't ask for a whole lot in return typically. And then every once in a while, I'll come in with a right hook and I'll say, by the way, sign up for my course. Click the link down below if you're interested in working with me as your coach. You know, that kind of thing. So it's timeless, the concept in and of itself. Another one that I would say is rather timeless. It's called the one-page marketing plan. And I think this is really just a primer in marketing any business for the most part. There's not really anything in here that I would say is like brand new to me. I would say that I'm an intermediate to advanced level marketer, I guess. I mean, I've been in the industry for like 7 to 10 years in some capacity. And so I pretty much know all these terms, and really a lot of these strategies weren't new to me. But what was really fascinating about this book, one, it was a good refresher. So even if you are someone like me who's been working in this industry for a long time, but just hasn't stopped to like formalize your processes or your understanding of some of these concepts, but also just having the exercise of the one-page marketing plan, like laying it out in just one page, was really helpful. Because again, going back to the simplify thing, I think sometimes we just get so, we overwhelm ourselves and we get way too complex, way more complex than anyone wants from us. So I really love this one. I think it's good. And I think it's also great for non-marketers. So if you are beginner level and you don't know, you know, lead nurturing and sales funnels and pricing strategies, crafting your messaging, target audiences, all of that stuff, if you don't know what, you know, a lot of that stuff means, check this out. Now, on the topic of messaging, this is another great follow-up. If you read the one-page marketing plan or working on your messaging, definitely recommend checking this one out as well. It's called Building a Story Brand. And this book really changed my business this past year. Again, it's a pretty simple concept, but it's like geniusly simple. So basically what Donald Miller says is that, you know, we really need to make our customers the hero of the story. Nobody wants to be saved, you know, whisked away. You guys watching this, you don't want me to be this knight on this horse just saving you from your business problems. You want to solve your own business problems. And what you're coming to the internet for, what you're coming to me or any other internet YouTube person, is you're looking for a guide. You're looking for somebody to help show you the way, but you want to be the hero of the story. You want to save yourself. So that's like the essential basis of StoryBrand, is keeping that in mind. And then there's obviously a ton of other elements that go into it, and help you really keep the focus on your audience while still showcasing what your product, your service has to offer them. It's really interesting framework, and I'm going to be definitely revisiting this. I'm about to relaunch my website. So as I go to do the copy for the website, I'm definitely going to be revisiting that and kind of auditing it for the StoryBrand framework. The last physical book that I want to show you is called The E-Myth Revisited. So I actually haven't read The E-Myth, which came out like a while ago, like 10 or 15 years before this one. This is an update, and basically it says why most small businesses don't work and what to do about it. And that's basically what it's about. So 80% of businesses fail within the first 5 years. And what this book does is it goes through the different reasons why that is and kind of how you can prevent yourself from being one of those statistics. What I like about this is that sometimes I find entrepreneurship and self-help books can be like painfully, what's the word? Toxic positivity. You know, there can be toxic positivity in some of these books. And I'm all about, you know, being inspired and being motivated, but like I also want to know what's going to prevent me from driving my business into the ground. And that is exactly what this is about. There's sort of a 7-step business development program that I find really helpful. It starts on chapter 11, page 135, and there's 7 steps to it. It's your primary aim, your strategic objective, your organizational strategy, your management strategy, people strategy, marketing strategy, and systems strategy. And then they go through all of those different strategies in the end of the book, and and it is a really great starting point or just like revisiting point if you already are in business. And the last book I don't have in my hands here because I'm listening to it. I got it as a gift. I talked about it in my last Freelance Friday podcast episode, but it is called Atomic Habits, and I'm not fully finished with it, but I am going to recommend it because I think it's already just like cleared so many things up for me. Again, it's not like it's revolutionary stuff here, but just hearing the way that he explains how to change your habits to achieve your goals is genius. And I think that's really the key thing that has stuck out in this book for me so far is that we focus so much on our goals. We talk about, I want to be a millionaire, or I want to be location independent, or I want to have a team of people, or I want to have a brick and mortar office, whatever it is that we focus on. And we think about that and we kind of manifest that, which I think has value as well, don't get me wrong, but we don't take enough time to go backwards and think of the individual steps that it takes to really get there. And that is the day-to-day stuff. Those are the habits. And that's exactly what Atomic Habits is about. So I'm really enjoying it. I'm about 3/4 of the way done with it, and I definitely recommend it to you all. Those are the 10 books that I recommend for all entrepreneurs. There are a ton of other books that I could recommend, but I feel like I've seen them in a lot of these videos, so I wanted to pick ones that I haven't seen quite as often, but there are definitely some good old classics. And if you are a fan of any of those kind of classic marketing books or anything else that I maybe didn't mention today, leave a comment down below and let me know what you'd recommend. I will leave all of these books. I'll leave a link to them in the description box. And yeah, that's it. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you want to see more videos like this. I am going to be posting 3 videos per week for the rest of the month. I started that in December for Bizmas, or my version of Vlogmas, and I think I'm going to keep up with it for as long as I can. So come back on Wednesday for a new video, and then on Friday for a new podcast. And yeah, I'll talk to you then. Bye.